Welcome back to the top 10 takeaways from the new normal of college admissions. This is part two. We invited a very special guest, Eric Eng. A bit about Eric Eng. He is the founder and CEO of AdmissionSight and has over 10 years of experience guiding students and their families through this competitive admissions process. He graduated with a BA from Princeton University, and he has one of the highest track records in the industry, placing students in Ivy League schools and top 10 universities. Where have you read about him? He's been featured on the U.S. News and World Report for his insights on college admissions, and he knows exactly what you need to do to get into the very best schools. Well, today we'll be doing 5 of the top 10 takeaways with Eric Eng. Eric, welcome to TUN TV.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Wonderful to have you. You know, we learned so much last time. We talked about the top 5 takeaways, and right now would love to continue that. We're looking at different takeaways that really are important aspects of the whole college admissions process. You talked about it being holistic. What about academic research? Is that something that colleges are still expecting students to be involved in, even in this post-COVID time?
Absolutely. I think the pandemic created a lot of uncertainty because the university lab shut down. It was difficult to get a research internship. And so, it was challenging for a lot of students to get a research project going to bolster their college admissions profile. Academic research is absolutely beneficial when it comes to college admissions. I mean, if you think about it, all these universities are research-driven institutions. That's what they do. They perform academic research to really push the forefront of knowledge. And so when you have a high school student conducting academic research at such a young age, it really showcases to a college their level of academic curiosity and commitment. And so, we have many students who have published their research papers. We've had students who competed in the Intel Science and Engineering Fair. Actually, in our program, we actually have an 8-week science research program that will guide students through every step of the way to either get published research or get regional and national recognition for their work. So academic research is absolutely, a big factor when it comes to college admissions.
Thank you for expanding on that, Eric. And you can learn more about Eric's program below the video. You can check out that 8-week program. And we have another video from Stanford professor, Dr. Cami Raleigh, who also shares how students can continue to do academic research, even during COVID. Well, thank you for that. The next one I have is leadership. What does leadership look like even in this virtual world?
Absolutely. I think leadership is super important. A lot of our students, partake in leadership in different capacities, whether it's being a president or founder of a school organization, or whether it's a nonprofit that they established. You really want to, showcase that self-initiative, that entrepreneurial drive to start an organization that really solves, important issues in our society. Okay. So we had students who, started a nonprofit tackling climate change or environmental sustainability. We had another student who started a nonprofit about, space and space education. And so there's a lot of unique ways to, create an organization to help you stand out. That's differentiated, that's fairly unique, that gives you a story to tell in your applications to set yourself, from the rest of the pack.
That really would distinguish a student to be involved in all those different leadership positions. The next point is community involvement.
Exactly. We love to see students engage with their community. Okay. In other words, we want to see, similar to, leadership, We want to see students take their leadership and engage with their local organizations, whether it's the American Red Cross, or we had a student who presented their research on fires to the fire department within their local community. And so there's a lot of unique ways to stand out. And it really comes down to volunteerism, whether it's volunteering at a hospital, whether it's playing music at a senior care citizen center to help with dementia. We really want to see that proactiveness and that social impact behind the students' endeavors.
That point that you made about volunteering, it's almost its own takeaway, but also it highlights something that you added in part one, which was the students' passions as playing an important role in the college admissions process, and something that the student really cares about. We're going next to academic competitions. Can you tell us about how academic competitions play into the college admissions process?
Absolutely. Academic competitions, this is one factor I see a lot of college counselors, especially the school counselors, they ignore this fact. But the top students at the local high schools, they all know that some of these academic competitions will dramatically increase your odds of acceptance. If you get grand prize in the Intel Science and Engineering Fair, your odds of getting in go up astronomically. If you place in the USA Math Olympiad, your odds of getting in go up astronomically as well. And so, competing in these academic competitions does take time. It does take preparation. I do have some families every year that say, oh, I'm not sure my child's ready for it. I'm not sure my child could compete in these academic competitions and get national recognition for their work. At the same time, I'm telling the families, if you're serious about getting into Harvard or Stanford or Yale or Princeton or MIT or any of those schools, placing in these academic competitions, while it's not necessarily a requirement, it will dramatically increase your odds of admission. And so sometimes I get pushback from parents saying, oh, I'm not sure my child's ready for it. They are ready for it. Okay, we have an entire program that prepares you for some of these competitions like the Intel Science and Engineering Fair. And so, have faith in the process. And then another thing I want to say is that, if you're not willing to get national recognition for some of your work, you may also want to, put your expectations, lower the expectations a bit as well, right? Because if you're saying you want to get into Harvard, well, you're going to need a little bit more to get there.
That makes a lot of sense. We're rounding up to the final one, number 10, college choices. What can students learn from the last 2 years about how you select colleges?
Yeah, so the college application process is probably the most important part. Okay. If I were to put a weighting on everything, I would probably put 25% academics, 25% extracurriculars, and 50% on the college applications. That much. I've always argued that a strong application and strong personal statements could get a weaker student in. We've had a student as low as a 3.3 unweighted GPA before get into an Ivy League school because of how powerful those personal statements are. Okay, and that's a fact. Of course, we're not saying we could get every student with a 3.3 in, but it has happened before. On the flip side, I've seen valedictorians of their school. I've even seen students who place in some of these academic competitions who still got rejected from literally all 10 of the Ivy League, or all 10 of the top 10 schools, 8 Ivy Leagues, because of their applications and their essays were weak. And so, to sum it up, admissions officers, they accept applications. They don't necessarily accept students. And there's really a fine distinction there.
Thank you so much for joining us today. The top 10 takeaways in this recent college admissions process.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us on TUN TV. I'm your host, Dr. Crystal Rose. Until next time.